Hi everyone, it's Diane Evans here with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia. So welcome to my YouTube. Make sure that you're subscribed down below there. Hit the bell and you'll get notified immediately. Or if you are joining me on my Facebook page, welcome. Remember that videos will only show for 30 days on Facebook. So if you want to make sure that you do catch all of my videos, and especially these ones, because this is a Technique Tuesday. So welcome to Technique Tuesday. This is where I come on live and I will show you a technique that maybe you've seen. Maybe it's one you saw years and years and years ago, but at least this way, what'll happen is it'll refresh your memory. This is a very, very old technique, and it kind of has to be used with certain stamp sets. So that's why it took me so long to figure out which one to do. I had this technique in my brain that I wanted to do a long time ago. So anyways, let's get going. It's called the Faux Metal technique. So let me just go down to my desktop here. And remember, tomorrow will be posted on my Facebook group, which there is a link to my Facebook group. I know I'm not streaming to Facebook. Another glitch. I have no idea what's going on there. Anyways, but this will show the different product that I've got. It's also have a picture of this, and it'll give you a link to the video. This also gets loaded into my file section on my Facebook group, and then at that point you can download these and put these into any into a technique book if you want. Now the other part with this is going to go on at 9:05 Pacific time tomorrow morning. And I know a lot of people ask me, why did you say 9:05? Well, I've got a lot of other things that go on to my Facebook group, so I don't want to interfere with it. 9:05 is kind of that time that you go, oh, it's on there. Remember to invite your friends to my Facebook group, and then they can also see some of these techniques themselves. All right, faux metal technique. How do you think that you would do something like that? You definitely need to be using some embossing powder. Now, as somebody pointed out to me, there's lots of techniques that I do, a lot of things that Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry, like the painter's tape technique and that. So we are using a product today that Stampin' Up! Doesn't cover. It is an embossing powder, but it's called UT, or it's ultra thick embossing powder. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like. It kind of looks a bit like it's a very vanilla color, but it's not. It's very thick granulated. See how thick that is? But this is going to add a little bit to it. Otherwise, we are going to have to do this embossing on this piece of paper over and over and over again. Now, I'm going to try to do it with the minimum. However, I'm thinking it's probably going to take like anywhere up to 10 different 10 layers of embossing. Now, the type of stamp set that you have to use is what we call a negative stamp. I've used this one before, and I had just gotten it when I used it the first time. But this is a negative stamp. So let me show you what I mean by a negative stamp. A negative stamp means that, let me show you on the one I'm going to actually use. It's a stamp that basically, it's flat and then it's dipped into. So you only see, you don't see the parts that are dipped in. It's a negative part. Does that make any sense? Hello, Andrea. So like I say, this is a fantastic technique. I've always loved this technique. You can also do this technique. You know how when you get cards and there's a like, this is almost like a faux hot wax seal technique as well. But this we're going to do with a stamp. The other part with this is I strongly, strongly suggest that you do not use the photopolymer stamp sets. Use these cling rubber stamp sets. You could ruin your photopolymer stamp set, and I don't want that to happen for you. All right, so let's get going on this. I'm going to be using this one with the strawberries. I had done this a while back. Now, this is on the discontinued list. So if you are wanting it, I strongly suggest that you get it while you can. I'm also going to be using these gems, and they're on the retired list as well. And these are called the Adhesive Back Sparkle Gems. Just because I want some gold on there, or maybe the black is what I'm going to use. I'm not sure exactly which one I'm going to go about to use, but I'm going to be using this on there. So that's another retiring product. This, I'm actually going to show this particular card on Saturday on a blog hop. So hopefully that is something that, that we can do. Now, because that's also an arch, I'm going to be using the Everyday Arches. And these ones, just to let you know, are on the online exclusives, and I think they're on not orderable right now, but they're coming back in May, so it's not like they're not going to be having them. So let's get going on this. You know I love to you know I absolutely love embossing. So when I get to emboss this much, it really makes me happy. So you're going to get sick and tired of all my embossing, but you know what? Like I have said many, many times before, if you learn how to emboss properly, you will, you are open to so many different techniques. Okay, I do have my silicone mat here because we're going to be doing lots of heat embossing on here. So you're just going to take your Versamark ink, and we are just going to ink that up. You notice I didn't even use the embossing buddy on there. You don't need it for this technique. So let's get going on this. And like I say, it could take me a while to get this all covered, but we have that time, right? Okay, so this is just covered, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just telling you, I just need, whoops, that wasn't very good. Oh, look at that. Let me just bring that back out. Should be using my tweezers on here. Whoops. And that's what we didn't want to do, was to get some embossing powder on there. But that's okay. You know what? I'm just going to quickly take that off with my vacuum because I don't want that to get onto my tabletop there. So you're going to just heat up your heat tool, and you are going to just heat set this. And I'm just going to come in and hold this down on there. So we'll just get going on that. So I'll just continue talking on this. This is going to take, like I say, a little bit of a time. But the extra product that you're going to need, it's called Ultra Thick Embossing Powder, or UT, is what it is. I've had this in my stash forever. I used to we used to get a lot more negative stamps. So that was where it was kind of fun. So this is few and far between, but like I say, you could also do this on the back, kind of messy, but you could do this and then cut it out. But yeah, so if you're quick enough, you can go like this, and you can come in on that embossing with that again, and just do that if it's warm. This one happens not to be warm enough, so I'm just going to come in and put some more Versamark on there. And we're going to be doing this, like I say, quite a few times. And you're going to see the results are worth the effort. I think they are anyways. So, and I'm not worrying about getting it too much to the edges. I'll catch it on the next time round. But like I say, you can turn around and you could use any color of embossing powder, but the idea is faux metal, so we want this to look kind of like a faux antique gold. Because of me heating it up this much, it's actually going to, let's see if we can do this really quick. I just need somebody to help me turn that off and on. But see how that can fit on there? It kind of doesn't go as good. So we're going to continue just to use the Versamark on there. But we want this nice and thick. And to me, I'm thinking probably about 10 layers of it. Now, it does add a bit of bulk to your card. but it also gives a really different look. Okay, so hopefully that's, when it's too hot, it takes it off. See how that just takes that off a bit? So there's kind of that happy medium. Do you get it too hot? Or, but you can see that we're starting to get it where it's a little bit more on here. Don't be shy, tell me where you're from. So like I was saying about the metal, you can turn around and use silver on here, you could use copper on here, but when you're going faux metal, now you could use white, but I'm not really loving the look of it. Okay, so then what we want to do, let's try using that ultra thick. And trust me, this ultra thick gets all over the place. It tends to spread around because it is thick. It doesn't adhere to the emboss or the Versamark as well. So you'll see lots of these particles falling off. Now I used to do this in a box so that you didn't, it wouldn't go all over the place, which you could do as well, but I'll just take my vacuum and clean up. See how this is starting to go a little bit thicker, and it also then starts to go antiquing wise. So and it takes a little bit longer with the ultra thick. Now I could do a couple layers of the ultra thick together, but I found that when I do that, that it doesn't, it tends to go a different color. Now this tends to stay warmer. It's quite hot. So this should really work with the gold now. See, it's staying hotter, so because of the ultra thick. So again, we're just going to keep doing this. Excuse me. But like I say, it's well worth this. Hello, Laura. Oh, I hope your headache's gone, or your migraine. Okay, so we've got that. Is this still pretty warm? It's still pretty warm because it stays a little bit warmer with the ultra thick. But I'm going to come in and I am going to use... Laura, do you remember this technique? This was a long time ago. So let's come in with some more ultra thick. Ultra thick is also good for cracked glass as well. Love that technique. And we're just gonna, like I say, this is the ultra thick. Probably gonna try to put 3 layers, but you can see the ultra thick is so much thicker than the other one. And thanks, Laura, for saying that. Yeah, I can go ahead and use other product. We can use bleach, we can use a lot of different ones, right, when we do techniques. So this is really no different. I do like when I use the ultra thick, though, that it stays warm enough that I can dip it in the gold. And if you get some bubbles, you can just turn around and reheat it up. Now, when I did retry this, what I did was I tried doing this part up and then just take over the, like start it like at about level 7 or 8, and it doesn't work as well. So that's why we're just taking this and we're just going to keep heating it up. I'm probably going to do another ultra thick on here and a couple more gold. If you don't alternate the gold and the ultra thick, you could end up with a really funny look on your image. Okay, so that's, I've lost count. Do you know what count I am on there? It does make a bit of a mess on the back. I'm going to wish I put Versamark on this one. I know I will. With the ultra thick, should really use the Versamark. I like how it has kind of some black specks in there as well. And when I show you how this starts to work, you'll see that you can fix it up. We could maybe go back in and add some more if we need to. So that was ultra thick. Still really warm. So I can just put that in there. See, it's really clumping on there too, so which is good. Oops. You see, I've got something else in there. There we go. See, this is starting to get really good and thick, so it should work really well. Okay, so I have my stamp ready. I know a lot of different people, and you could stamp this into a color, or you could put it into Memento ink and get a bit of a darker color, but this one I don't quite want that look. So all I'm doing is getting it really, really good and hot. And now I'm just going to want to make sure we get those bubbles out. All right, take that off, and then I'm just going to come down and I'm just going to put this right onto here. Now it does slide. Yes, you could use a bit of the black, but with this, Andrea, what happens is it does go a bit of black in here. So we want that to be pushed right in there, so it's going into the negative parts. And then we're going to take this off ever so carefully. And see, it wasn't quite hot enough there. So no worries. We are going to come in and I'm going to do one more ultra thick. It was going good up at the top. So I'm going to do this. It does have a bit of black in there. You can see some black. So I'm going to do the ultra thick one more time. And then I'm going to do some gold. But I also have to melt where that was, which it'll melt really quite easily. Now, if you were thinking of ever doing this for a class, it's very, very time consuming. So it's not something I would do for a class. There's another technique that I really wanted to show everybody how to do, but it's one of those ones that's kind of dangerous and it plays with fire. So let me just go in here. See how I just want to get that so it's going to flow again. And see how it's starting to come out. And there's quite a bit of black on here. Okay, that's the ultra thick. So let's go one more time in the gold. See why I did this on my silicone mat, and then I can just scrape this. You know what, I think I'll use the Versamark on here because I want it good. Oof, that's pretty hot, that. Now this could curl, which is something that you have to be really careful of. All right, so I'm just going to get this good and inked up with some more Versamark. Let's put it into the gold, and this should do it. You can see how thick it's starting to get. And thanks for bearing with me because this is kind of a bit monotonous with me heat setting it. But this is really neat for metallic sort of things. You could also, if you didn't have a stamp, you could imprint some stuff in there as well. So I am going to get this good and hot. It's right there. I've got my stamp, so it's turned over. I'm going to put that down like so. Let's push that down and then turn off my heat gun. You got to have 3 sets of hands, or two sets of hands to do this. Now let's just hope that that imprints in there. And like I say, you can keep going in if you don't like the result. It's one of those ones you have to be patient with. Sorry, I'm just going to get some of this powder off of here. Like I say, that ultra thick goes everywhere. All right, so take that like that. You know what? I could push this down a little bit from this end. See, it's kind of messy on the back, but that's okay. We're covering that up. There we go. So there we have it. So we have some of these finer lines didn't show up as much, but then we want to make sure that that's good and flat. And then what you can do is you can turn around and bring in your snips. You could use your rubber scissors as well if you don't like using your snips on here. This is a lot of embossing powder that we're cutting through. So you just want to ease very carefully cut around here. I'm going to kind of, it's quite hot still. But these are the rubber scissors that we used to have. Do you know that we used to have to cut out every one of our rubber stamps? I used to like doing it. So this is just going to go here. Just like that. And it cuts out really, really nice. All right. And then, now if you want, and I'm not going to do it on this particular one, you could turn around and kind of do a rubbing of ink on it. But it would have to be, and I'm telling you right now, it would have to be a StazOn, because it would have to be a solvent ink, because the water base, like Memento, would rub off. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do with this after it's done. There we go. Okay, now what we want to do is kind of just heat it up from a bit from the back. You don't want to lose that stuff in there. And what that did was help to straighten it out. All right, so then we are going to have to glue this like crazy. But see how thick that is? Yeah, it's quite thick. All right, so I'm just going to throw those pieces away. And then I decided this would look really nice on this gold arch and then this gold arch. See how this can go right here, like so. So I'm going to just show you that up close, just like this. If you don't heat it up, it could turn around and it could crack. And I see this one cracked a little bit. But what I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to put one of the words on here. And I think the just a note. So let's just go with that. And then, we got to make sure that this is going the right way. So we're just going to do that again. I'm going to ink that up with Versamark. So unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is retiring. You know what? I want to see if this is straight. It's pretty straight. Put that there. And up. Gonna come in with our gold. And we'll heat set that because we haven't done enough embossing already, right? Now, I see that this kind of got a bit of gold here. That would be kind of a neat, oh brother, it's just, you know what? I'm going to come and do that. Maybe. So I'm just going to kind of touch that up with a bit of gold. Kind of antiques it a little bit. I might be sorry that I did that, but we'll see how that works. And I think that'll be kind of cool on there. There we go. And let's just emboss that again. I just think it kind of added a little bit on there. Not a lot. It just gave a tiny bit of gold onto the edge there. Mistakes sometimes are okay, right? There we go. So just giving a tiny bit of gold on there. See how that's working? And then what I can do, I almost dumped that. Now let's see how that's going to go on there. Okay, I just want to get that a little warmer so that it doesn't curl. And then we're going to come in with our tear and tape. I don't think glue would be good on this. It might be. Let's try the glue. I need lots of glue. Okay. Let's just put this on here. Really moves around, so we're going to have to hold that for a second. Now, if you like this, remember to give me the thumbs up. Don't forget at 9:05 tomorrow, I will have this on there. Oh, look at that. That really upsets me when the glue comes out like that. And I had that far enough away. There we go. See, that's all coming out. Ugh. Works pretty good though, this sponge. We definitely do not want that on the gold, that's for sure. Just, you know what? I can put something heavy on that. Let's just put that. Oh, you know what? I think I could put, let's put, we'll put a punch on there to hold it down. All right, so that's ready to go there. So I have my card base cut. It just happens to be very vanilla. Just here. And you know what? I got so much stuff on this. I'm sorry for using this vacuum here, but if I don't, I'm going to have it all over the place. All right, so I have my piece of cardstock. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic black that is 4 by 5 1/4, and this is that plastered embossing folder. I thought this was kind of fun. This is kind of crooked, so let me go in and just fix this. So this is just going to go on here, but I thought this would look really nice with this ribbon. And this is the new ribbon from, let's see, it's from the celebratory sips. Could you use golden? Yeah, no, I answered that question. All right, so we're going to just take this off. I love black and gold together. Very elegant. Okay. So I could wrap this around and tie a bow on it, but I think what I'll do is I'll come in, and I don't want it right in the middle. Just like that. And then let's just use our strips. All right. So I'm just going to glue that on. Like so. Now, I do not know what I would put on the inside of this. I'm kind of, I don't know what I would use. So, let's see how that is. There we go. Let's take that. You know how to do that, right? Is just take a sponge and then let's just put that there. And you know what? I'm going to put this here, but I'm going to stick it underneath this ribbon. And then I'm going to put this on top with black dimensionals. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope that, you know, it's something that you'll use. This is a little bit more involved, this technique. And anyways, let's just go in. Let's just put that there. You know what? I don't even think it needs a bow. I think just that bit of gold on there is good. Just going to hold that down. Now, like I said, we're going to come in with these gems. So, you know what? I don't think those are gold enough. They're kind of a pinky gold. So this is something else that's retiring. These are the pearls, and I'm going to miss these because these are so nice and metallic. But it's all retiring. So you can still get these things. There we go. Just like so. Whoops. I keep bringing it over here. I don't know why. I think that the video's there, or the camera's there. And you know what? I think I've been really bad lately. I've been using more than 3 gems. They're retiring, so that's why I'm going to use them. Got to use them up, right? So normally I would just do 3, but we're going to do 5 today. All right, so there is our faux metal technique. Let me show you it up really close. So see how it just goes in. It goes into those negative spots, and it looks like metal. It really does. It looks like we put some metal on the top of that card. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, this will be there tomorrow at 9:05. Remember that if you like that, give me the thumbs up, share my video. Invite people into the group, because that way they can see these different tutorials. They can at least see them there. And also, like I said, it's on the YouTube. I have them on a playlist that says techniques, or if I do a fancy fold or anything like that. All right, you guys. So Remember, if you live in Canada, I'd love to be your demonstrator. If you have any questions, whether you want to deal with me or not, just reach out. I would love to help you. Also, remember that, remember to create, because it's great for the soul. All right, we will see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific time, with a mystery challenge. So at noon, I will post 3 clues, something that you have in your craft room that you can join along and do the challenge with us as well. All right, you guys, bye for now.